Hello and welcome back to another chapter of Home Finds Grian by Dragons Are Cool on AO3. Chapter 8 Boy Scouts? Grian had actually made it through his first night at Jimmy's house without any dreams, and they were both glad for it. But now Jimmy had to figure out how to get Grian through the day too, and currently his cousin was simply sat on the couch, head tilted back, staring blankly and unblinkingly at the ceiling. Hey, Grian. You look bored. Not bored, Tim. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do, Grian drawled. Jimmy was glad the nickname had stuck around after Grian rediscovered it. It had been odd going so long without hearing it. Well, what do you usually do for fun these days? He plopped himself down on the couch next to Grian, jostling him enough to make him raise his head. I don't know. Come on, surely you got to have some ideas. I don't remember what we do for fun, Jimmy. He bit back. Ah, right. Jimmy awkwardly pulled a few of his own feathers back into place. Do you want to try something new, then? We've got a whole week to fill. I don't want to get in your way. You probably have, work or something, right? Grian returned to staring at the ceiling. Well, yeah, technically. But you can come with me, you know. You wouldn't be in the way. Grian raised an eyebrow at him. You wouldn't, Jimmy insisted. Seriously, you wouldn't. Literally the only way into this business if it's someone over the internet lets you tag along to see if you like it. Look, I obviously don't know anything about running a business, but that doesn't seem sustainable. Grian challenged. It's complicated. What do you even do? Grian finally asked. He also lifted his head again to properly look at him when Jimmy didn't give an answer. He looked a bit like he backed himself into a corner. Do you not want to tell me? You just invited me to go with you. People usually don't like to know what I do, he hedged. Grian just scrunched his face up at him. You're not making any sense. But after Jimmy just floundered about a while more, Grian stopped him. Look, it's not like I have anyone to tell but Mumbo. Does Mumbo know? Well, yeah. Just spit it out then. It can't be that bad. Well, I'm a Ghost Scout. Jimmy flinched back like he was expecting blows. But Jimmy just blinked at him in confusion. Is that like the Boy Scouts or something? What? What do you mean by what? You're the one not making any sense here? You really don't know what a Ghost Scout is. Grian shook his head and kept shaking it as Jimmy continued. Ghost investigator? Hunter? None of it? Come off it. How have you never heard of this? Grian's face soured at that. I haven't been here, Jim. I don't remember. Okay. Jimmy backed off, physically, a little shaken by the tone. Sure, he clearly wasn't the little kid he remembered, but he was still Grian, plain as day. But to get something so stern and absolute out of him like that, well, Jimmy wasn't stupid. Well, do you want to see what Ghost Scout does, then? Grian took a deep breath and went to smooth a few of his own feathers, too. The wings were a good enough excuse to look away, so that was another thing they had going for them. I guess. Why didn't you want to tell me what you did? Jimmy studied him a moment. Tell you what, you come scout with me first, and get a first impression of it for yourself, and then after I'll tell you. Deal? He held his hand out to Grian. Grian snorted, amused by the gesture, but took his hand anyways. Alright, deal. How does this work? Well, first, I gotta find us a potential haunt. Here, I'll show you. Jimmy was excited to share his job with his cousin. He thought it would be fun going into a haunt just the two of them. He was not expecting to fall at the first hurdle. So here's all the local region requests. We'll just scroll through here and pick one close to us. He turned the laptop towards Grian to let him look through, and Grian was looking extremely confused. Jimmy saw him mouth back the words "scroll through" with a deep furrow in his brow. He haltingly poked a random letter on the keyboard. When that did nothing, he finally looked back at Jim. What? Jimmy blinked it back at him. Have you never seen a computer before? Sure, they hadn't had one growing up. The Watchers tended to target and destroy any technology they came across, making it rather dangerous to keep around. But for him to have never encountered one since? But Grian was shaking his head. How? Jimmy baffled. You have a phone now, right? You have a phone now, though, right? He nodded this time and pulled out the phone Mumbo had given him. Mumbo was teaching me it. He poked it at it a couple times, pulling up the contacts where Mumbo and Jimmy's numbers were saved. Okay. Jimmy rubbed at his temple, not sure where to even start with computers. He turned his laptop back more towards himself and scrolled down the list till he found a potential haunt, only a few blocks away. This is like your phone, but bigger, I guess. Mumbo could probably figure out how to explain this better, so we'll just stick to ghosts tonight, yeah? Grian nodded at him, putting his phone away again. Cool. Jimmy turned the screen between them again and showed Grian the potential haunt. So, this house was reported to the GIN, that's the Ghost Investigation Network, and as being maybe haunted. Our job will be to go in and make sure this actually is haunted before they send in the investigators. Okay. Grian was still eyeing the computer. How do we do that? We drive over there tonight when a ghost would start getting active and look for signs. That's it? Pretty much. Jimmy clicked to accept the haunt and confirmed the key was at the drop-off location. Grian periodically peppered him with questions throughout the rest of the day. Jimmy took out his kit and showed Grian his array of tools, thermometers and EMF readers, mostly, and a motion sensor. That evening after dinner, he took Grian over to the drop location where GIN members collected keys or recovered gear before taking him over to the house itself. They pulled in and parked in the empty carport. Wait, Grian was staring out the window at the empty house. There's nobody here. Well, yeah. Most people don't stick around once they think a ghost is in there. They're dangerous. So you just go into people's houses? Jimmy just shrugged. Yeah. Ain't no we're gonna be here. Grian just shrugged back and followed Jimmy, getting out of the car. They stopped on the porch while Jimmy got the door unlocked. Want to bet on it? Jimmy asked after he got the door open. Well, that's no fair. I've never done this before. Well, we gotta actually stick around and find evidence. Right now, it's just a guess, Grian. Right, fine. Loser cooks dinner. Jimmy snorted. You don't know how to cook. You don't know how to cook. Like you were doing any better with those cookies, Grian fired back. Jimmy sputtered and fired back. All right, you're on then. Get in there. He shoved Grian through the door and followed close behind. Right. What do you think then? Grian shivered. Definitely haunted. Ha! Spooked already? No. Grian grumbled penitently. He took the thermometer Jimmy held out to him. He turned on his EMF meter and led the way into the house. The pair wandered slowly room to room, eventually making their way upstairs. Grian's voice just before Jimmy's meter started beeping at the picture frame that had flipped itself face down on the dresser. Colder in here? Jimmy guessed. Yeah. Great, it's haunted! We can go! Jimmy did an about face and led them back outside. I didn't see any obvious cursed objects or reasons the haunt might have shown up here. Seems like a pretty standard random haunt. What does that mean? There's different types of haunts. Most are like this one. Ghost just randomly shows up. But sometimes they show up because people were messing around with things they shouldn't. Grian led them all the way back to the car and pulled out a form, filling it out quickly on the trunk of the car. So I won the bet, right? Grian followed him back up to the house. Beginner's luck. Jimmy grumbled as he taped up the notice and locked the door again. So why didn't you want to tell me what you did? Because most people are scared of us when they find out about it. Grian stopped at the top of the porch steps and stared at Jimmy. You're messing with me. I'm not, honest. He raised his hands. People get really weird around ghost professionals. He nodded his head back to the car to nudge Grian into the moving again. To be fair, people are more scared of the investigators, but it sort of rubs off on the rest of us too. Most folks just lump us all together. I don't get it, Grian snorted. Imagine being scared of you. Hey! Jimmy's feather puffed up involuntarily. I can be plenty scary. He squeaked indignantly. And Grian just stared at him smugly for a moment. Nah. I know scary. I know scary. Nah, Jimmy huffed, now following Grian back to the car. What do you mean, nah? I know scary. He turned to face his cousin, who was thankfully leaned down enough, just enough that he could reach up and poke him in the nose. And you, Timmy, are not scary. Jimmy blinked and screwed up his mouth at getting booped, and decided there wasn't any coming back from that in this argument. Right. Get in the car then, or I'm leaving you here, he grumbled, pulling the driver's side open. Grian laughed at him and went around to the other side, and off they went as the sun fully dipped below the horizon. They dropped off the key again for an investigation team to collect later, and headed back home to write up the report for the GIN. And Jimmy decided that since this one would be fairly short and straightforward, he would have Grian type it out. You've really never used a computer before. Jimmy watched Grian tap at the key slowly and clumsily. Just assume I did live under a rock. Grian grumbled back as he kept stubbornly typing out what Jimmy had told him. Jimmy sighed and patted him on the shoulder. Sorry. It's fine. Grian leaned back from the computer. There's no way this is faster than writing. Why aren't these even in order? He gestured frustratingly at the device. What do they even teach us the alphabet song for then? Jimmy laughed a bit. You're just not used to it, bud. He reached over Grian's shoulder and typed out the rest of the report from where Grian had left off midway through the second sentence. Show off. Grian shoved Jimmy away and poked at the keyboard experimentally a few more times. It's muscle memory. You'll learn it eventually. Jimmy read over the report once more, correcting a typo, and then sent it off to the investigator portal. That's it on our end, though. Now it's in the investigator's hands. It's not so bad. Yeah, not bad at all, as long as you don't mind the travel. Jimmy added, and it pays pretty well. And that's always nice. Grian just hummed back in response, prompting Jimmy to look up at him. He closed the laptop to see Grian starting to nod off in his sleep, no longer needing to focus so hard on something that left him crashing. Jimmy just chuckled at him. Bedtime? Grian hummed again and rubbed at his eyes before dragging himself to his feet. Good night. Good night, G. See you in the morning. And that is the end of chapter 8.